Hi, I'm Certified Nutrition Consultant Catherine with Foods That Heal You and Foods That Heal You CBD. And in this video in our series, I'm going to be explaining the difference between 4 different types of CBD oil. Full spectrum, broad spectrum, CBD Isolate, and Distillate. All right, so I've mentioned in previous videos, full spectrum. I've shown you the CBD wheel, which I'll show again here. But full spectrum means that it has all of the plant parts. It has all of the phytocannabinoids. It has all of the plant terpenes. It has vitamins, minerals, all of the phytonutrients. It contains everything. My analogy that I use is it's like eating an apple. If you take a bite of the apple, you're getting all of the nutrients in that apple. You're not just extracting certain nutrients. You're getting all of the cofactors, all of the synergistic nutrients in that apple. All right. So if you look at the cannabinoid wheel, and this is just an illustration. This is not all of the cannabinoids. There's over 100, but you can see that you have CBD as one cannabinoid, and you've got CBN, CBG, and you even have THC. And this is where the confusion can come in. So yes, full spectrum does have THC in it in trace amounts. It's still legal because it's below the legal limits of 0.3%. So you're not going to experience the effects of THC if you're getting hemp-derived CBD hemp oil. All right, so that's what full spectrum is. And one more thing about full spectrum, just to explain between CBD and THC, because this does come up sometimes. People ask me, does CBD have THC in it? So no, it doesn't, because CBD, as you can see, is one phytocannabinoid and THC is a separate cannabinoid. It would be like saying, is there any vitamin B in my vitamin C? There's not, because they're separate vitamins. These are separate cannabinoids, okay? So one's not in the other, but they can be in the same plant, all right? So that's full spectrum, and full spectrum is considered to be really the best option because in nature, nutrients works best synergistically together. And there was an Israeli study that showed also that the full spectrum was superior to these other types. Now that doesn't mean that full spectrum is going to be the best for you, because everybody's going to need something different. You may be looking for something with 0 THC in it. So there's other options here as I'm going to go through. Now, but the full spectrum, I also wanted to give a couple examples of full spectrum so that you understand what it can look like. So full spectrum, the most pure or whole plant extract is going to look like our pure oil concentrates. This is the green label and this is the gold label. These are whole plant hemp extracts. So this is as close to the original plant as you're going to get without just grinding up the leaves, all right? So this is the hemp extract, and then what you can do is you can have a so that's full spectrum. You can have a full spectrum drops, like our tasty drops. Because what you can do is you can take the hemp extract, add it in to this bottle with a carrier oil like MCT oil or hemp oil, which I explained in other videos, but you can add it in with maybe a flavor and shake it up. Now you have a full spectrum tincture drop. All right, now here's where the confusion could get in that you really need to know how to read your labels. So make sure you watch the other video in this series so you learn how to read the labels, but this can be any of these truly. So you want to make sure that if you want full spectrum, you know how to read that label and you know that there's full spectrum in that bottle, because it's the highest risk for getting anything in here and junk in there that you're not aware is in there, all right? All right, the second type is going to be broad spectrum. So broad spectrum is going to be very similar to full spectrum. The biggest difference is it's not going to have any THC. So they filter out the THC. Our broad spectrum product is our CBD spray. So this has all the phytocannabinoids, it has plant terpenes, phytonutrients, it just doesn't have the THC. So for example, if you're concerned about drug testing for THC and you want something with 0 THC, but you want the benefits of full spectrum, then the CBD spray would be a really great option. Broad spectrum would be a great option there. Now, what it does is it causes something called the entourage effect. So full spectrum and broad spectrum, you're going to have that entourage effect, which I explained. I called it the synergistic. It's synergistic nutrients working together. That's basically the entourage effect. When you have all the nutrients working together with all the cofactors, the body's going to be able to absorb and utilize it more effectively, okay? And then the third option is going to be CBD Isolate. Now, CBD Isolate is going to be a white powder. It's very, very pure. You don't have any other cannabinoids, no THC, no CBN, CBG, none of those, no phytonutrients, no vitamins, no minerals, nothing else. The only thing that's in the isolate is strictly CBD, and if you look on this wheel, it would be only this little section right here. Now, obviously, there are a lot of potential benefits of the CBD, right? But if you don't have these synergistic cofactors and that entourage effect, this CBD may not work very well for you. Now, there's some things that you can do to help bring back that entourage effect, and I'm going to give you a couple examples of the isolates that we have. We have our cat drops are a CBD isolate, and the reason for that is because cats have sensitive stomachs. So we have an isolate in here. Now, as you can see, between these two bottles, you would never know this is full spectrum and this is isolate. That's why you really need to know how to read labels, because isolate is less expensive. So if you're paying for full spectrum and you're getting an isolate, you're getting ripped off. Okay, you want to make sure you're getting what you're paid for. We have the isolate in here, and then what we do is we add back in a carrier oil that's going to help create that entourage effect. All right, then the other thing you can do is, for example, a vape. We have our vape shot. Our vape liquids, we use an isolate. But they can be very effective for people because we add back in the plant terpenes. And plant terpenes definitely help create that entourage effect and increase the absorption and utilization of the nutrients and the CBD oil. Okay, so those are just a couple examples of the CBD isolate. So isolate's not bad, it just needs to be in a formula that's going to create that entourage effect for you. And then also isolate, another thing that you'll want to know about isolate is that you can get super high milligrams in an isolate. Like our isolate powder is a tiny little container with 50 or 100 milligrams in it. And one thing that you can do with that isolate is I have a customer who adds it to the HC here. So adding the powder to this and shaking it up, you increase the milligrams of the CBD concentration, and you still get that entourage effect because this is it's a broad spectrum. So you've got all those other synergistic and cofactors to help with that powder. So taking the powder straight is usually not going to be very effective, and that's a lot of times what they're using in gummy bears and edibles. They're just throwing isolate powder in there, and so it's usually not going to be very effective for most people. But again, the benefit is you can boost products, CBD, it has no taste, and some people may be allergic to, for example, the plant terpenes. Well, there aren't going to be any plant terpenes in the isolate, all right? The fourth type is very new, it's distillate, and distillate in a nutshell is going to be very similar to CBD isolate. What they're doing is they're isolating different cannabinoids, and it's considered to be very pure, just like the CBD isolate's very pure, not having any of the other plant parts or terpenes. CBD distillate is going to be basically like picking and choosing only these cannabinoids out of 100. People are, they might decide, well, I want CBD, I want CBN and CBG, but I don't want THC, and I don't want CBA or whatever. So it's kind of picking and choosing and isolating specific nutrients and putting it into the formula. So there's pros and cons to that. One of the pros to that, again, is you don't have the plant terpenes for people who might be allergic to plant terpenes. The cons would be that you don't have the plant terpenes, which are super beneficial. You don't have the plant terpenes, those are really important, and you don't have all of the phytonutrients, all of the flavonoids, all of the nutrients that come along with the hemp extract. All right, so those are the 4 primary different types of CBD hemp oil that you can find. Make sure you watch my video on how to read the labels so that you know what you're buying. Like I said, if you're looking for full spectrum, you want to make sure you're paying for what you get for. And then broad spectrum, remember that has no THC, so it's a great second alternative option if you can't have THC. CBD Isolate would be lower on the list unless you know how to create a formula like we do in our vape pen or in our cat drops to create that entourage effect. And then Distillate's fairly new. I don't even know if there are any distillate products on the market at this point. It's really experimental. But that should cover everything, and thanks for watching this. If you have questions, we'd love to have you join us on our Facebook group. I'll have a link to that. And you can also email us at support@foodsthathealyou.com. We'd love to hear from you and help you out and help you better understand CBD hemp oil. All right, thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you in the next video.